Did you collect baseball cards?
Oh my gosh!
What was your gem? What was the best card you had?
Ooh, I have a lot of great cards.
Any Mickey Mantle? For some reason, Mickey Mantle was always.
I've got Mickey Mantle. My idol was Pete Rose. Charlie Hustle. That's how I played basketball. That's how I played baseball. And so I wanted to collect all his cards. I never had this 63 rookie of Pete Rose. My buddy ended up getting 2 of them. I was really sick about it. He bought them at a house sale in Iowa. His mother got them, and I couldn't believe it because he didn't even like them. That was my buddy who was a general in the military.
No way.
Yeah, we were big baseball card collectors, but baseball, like you said, a lot of people were inspired by calling baseball games. I know the guys who had been at Syracuse.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let me ask you a question. When you get to a point and you're doing college football games and you've had all your moments, as a coach, I'll visualize the night before a game. I will go through a game in my head, play it good, play it bad, play it average. I'll play it a lot of different ways. Do you do the same thing the night before? We're playing Stanford at home, and you know kind of where they're at. Are you playing that moment in your head as a visualization? I'm going to call this game. This is what I'm going to give to the fans. This is how I'm going to paint the picture. Do you play that in your mind? Do you have these game-winning shots? These fantasies, these things of, oh my gosh, when I get this moment, I'm gonna just fumble. Do you are these? Because you'll see rappers, and rappers will say, I don't write my stuff, and you're like, okay, wink, wink. You gotta, you don't just freestyle,
right?
You've got these things, these brain tattoos from Brent Musburger to Keith Jackson to Mike Tirico to Marv Al. What these guys are. Do you ever think about that stuff? God, if I get the opportunity to call something like this, I'm going to do it like this. And if you have had that, can you share that with us?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what a good example would be. But the things that you think of. So visualizing, I think, is important because there are so many really tricky and ridiculous and weird things that happen on the court. You need to describe them very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, what happens if the ball is bouncing to the left corner and Jaden McDaniels grabs it and saves it between his legs and it bounces off somebody's head and then it ends up in the hands of the other team and then they fumble it and we get it back.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 seconds to describe that.
Sure.
You want to have an idea ahead of time of a good way to try to put that in a nice, neat little box.
Sure.
That said, the things you visualize and can see happening probably come to fruition 3% of the time.
Sure.
I think the one that actually did get on the air was going into my first football game against Auburn. Miles Gaskin was 52 yards away from breaking the all-time school rushing record.
Yeah.
And I knew there was a chance that could happen.
So going into this game, he's going to break the record. He could
break the record.
Yeah.
And it was I might have a chance to and not knowing how this will happen, it might be obvious that he just broke it.
Sure.
It might be really close call. You don't really know these things.
Yeah. I
was if it's obvious, a nice quick way to say it might be this. And so I don't know, I was driving around the week of the game and Mount Rainier was popping. It was the summertime, it was beautiful, and I just thought he's the top of the Mount Rainier of Husky rushers.
Yeah.
I just thought that might be a nice, cool little quick way to say it.
Yeah.
And it was good that I thought that because he broke it on a 20-yard run, and we were running the hurry-up offense.
Yeah.
So we got right to the line of scrimmage, and I had to get ready to describe the new play.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sit there and be oh, what a great moment, and he's,
And that's probably the biggest challenge, right?
Right.
Because there could be we're going to score a touchdown to win the game compared to the time of the game, right?
Oh, so I'll tell you the hardest one was Myles Gaskin 80-yard touchdown run in the snow against Washington State. Because in that moment, not only did he become the first player in Pac-12 history to have 4 1,000-yard seasons.
Incredible.
And you don't see that coming on an 80-yard run.
Yeah.
But also, we just, in these crazy conditions, it's 3rd and 1. All I'm thinking is we need a yard in order to, like, not have to punt it back to Gardner Minshew so he can drive down and win the ball game, right? Like, let's just get a yard here.
Yeah.
And then he breaks it for 80. It's the nail in the coffin. And we're going to go to the Pac-12 championship game.
Yeah.
And I need to try to like summarize that in like 10 seconds. It's like
you're a wordsmith. But I think that's the coolest thing about what you do is because it's like you have to be prepared, but you got to be prepared for anything, and you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It goes back to our culture because why? You just don't know. You know, you anticipate and you have it, but it's just interesting to me professionally to be, you know, there's so much passion, there's so much information, there's so much, you know, preparing for the game. Like, tell me a little bit about, like, how do you prepare for a game? Like, do you go through, like, I've seen your sheets. You're as detailed as it gets. I mean, it's almost like studying for you know, to get your master's. You know what I mean? Like
it's a test.
It's a test.
And
your sheets and your detail. Like, do you have anybody else? Because I know, like, back in the day, you know, Dick Vitale was the Schwami. Who was the guy?
Oh, the Schwami.
Who was the guy who helped them? Like he gave a lot of his information. Do you do all your research?
Mostly. So research, yes. I do all my own research.
Do you have anybody that you can call that you're like, or any assistant or anything like that, or everything, you know, you're just doing it?
The thing that's the most monotonous, Coach, is like football. You got 99 guys on each team, right? And you're trying to put a board together for football, and you got to write every number, every name, every height, every weight.
Impossible.
That's just annoying, right? So we hire somebody to do that.
Yeah.
That they put together just the bare bones, just basically the roster laid out in a football formation.
Yep.
And then I just do my own research, and I'll call the other play-by-play guys. I'll call the guy on the opposing team, and he'll give me a little bit of scoop. Talking to guys like you is really, really helpful for basketball.
Sure.
And our coaches show, I'll listen back to that before the game.
Bring it back.
Listen to some things that you said.
Yeah.
But you know, people like Ashley Walker, the sports information directors, they got one at every school. They put together those packets, and I mean, I just tear through those. Those are my Bibles.
What are the biggest challenges for you between the sport of basketball and football?
Yeah, they're night and day, man.
Night and day in what way?
So there's as many coaches on a football team as there are players on a basketball team. I mean, think about that. Like, you got a lot of guys to look after.
That's right.
But that's how many coaches the other team has.
That's
in football,
incredible,
right?
Yeah.
So I think in football, you know so much less about the players. You're just trying to know, hey, how do I pronounce their names? How do I make sure that I don't mess that up? And football is like a production where we've got a crew of like 7 or 8 people who are putting this thing together. Where for basketball, it's a little more bare bones. You know, I got an engineer, I got Jason, I got me, and we got a guy back in the studio.
Yeah,
And we don't need more because I can retain the information about your players and about the opposing players because it's not so overwhelming.
Sure.
Know?
The amount of players for football becomes the biggest challenge.
Oh, it's just so much. It's crazy.
And I'm sure when somebody gets injured and they have a replacement or somebody that maybe not play a lot, it's like, have I done my? Do I have that guy? What's been your biggest, like, okay, you're doing a game. What has been the biggest challenge or mistake?
Oh my gosh,
that you've had? Like,
Coach,
give me the biggest, like, oh my God, I'm in this situation. Maybe when you were young, maybe when you were here, maybe where it was. Where was your biggest, like, oh my gosh, I never thought that would ever happen, and that just happened?
So, when I was at Clemson doing basketball, we were playing at Georgia Tech.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say Syracuse.
No, we're playing Georgia Tech.
That game, after you don't like Tyus battle.
And one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to have these crutch words, and I've got them anyway. I've got
what
these
are
words
they?
that I use over.
What
and
are
over.
they?
I'm not sure. I haven't called a game.
Well, you know what they are. You just said. What are they?
Probably is one of them.
Is she your biggest critic?
Yeah,
I love it.
She's a good critic.
She's incredible.
She's very helpful.
She's an incredible.
Yeah, Selena for the win. But
Yeah.
what I was going to say was, you want to try to freshen up your lingo, and so you try to say things a little bit differently. You try to use all the different ways that you can say 2-point basket, dunk, all this different stuff.
Sure.
So one time, live on the air, guy for Clemson, I think it was Landry Noko, gets an offensive rebound and just rocks the rim. He throws it back down.
Yeah.
And I just instinctively react, Landry Noko with the offensive rebound, and he flushes home the deuce.
I like that.
And my analyst turns and looks at me and goes, what?
Did he look at you and go, what did you say?
Oops. It's one of those things, as soon as it comes out of your mouth, that was bad.
Well, let me ask you a question. So Bill Raftery always goes, onions!
Onions! Early onions!
Early onions! Or they're in a... Mendament! What is your... if do you have a trademark? Is there something that you say that is a stamp?
I try not to have it because I don't want to make it about me. I'm not trying to brand the game as my game. It's like Washington's game.
I love it.
And it's it's about the players and the coaches and what's the drama that's unfolding before me. The one thing that I claim as my own is at the very end of every broadcast, I will say, Selena, I'm coming home. That's my sign.
I love that.
I just let everybody know, hey, I'm on my way home. If you need me to get some milk or something like that, go ahead and text me. But Selena, I'm coming home. That's my one thing that I'll say at the end of every game. So
you're a pretty good guy.
Thanks, man.
We're really lucky to have you.
You too.
You're. I remember when you came in and you were going through the job process, and had a chance to meet you. And you're great for the game. You're great for the university. You are all about the right stuff, buddy. You're a great family guy. You're very professional in what you do, and we're just lucky to have you.
I could not feel more the same way about you. I mean, this has been cool. You got to be the only Power 5 coach in the country that would do this.
Yeah.
And, hey, you are 100% at winning Pac-12 Coach of the Year awards. Every single year you've ever coached, you win that award. So that's pretty cool. So, this has been an awesome partnership, friendship that's developing. Yeah. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. You've been very welcoming, and I just think I'll tell you, as far as starting this thing off, this podcast, I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to talking to all sorts of different people.
Sure.
But you were absolutely one of the very few people I knew right away, got to get on the show, just because I knew you'd be willing, because we have quality conversation. Yeah. You're willing to go there, and I think it's awesome.
I appreciate that. And always remember, we got the job at the same time.
Isn't that
so
cool?
So we're in this thing forever.
We're in this together.
We've been in this together forever.
Yep.
Tougher together.
Yeah, that's we're kind of going to put our arms around each other and do the "Together Forever" song from American
And you did the
Idol.
hops on hop. I mean, how cool is that? I'm
hops
so excited.
With hop. I mean, there couldn't be a better podcast. So, Coach, thank you very much for being episode number 1 of the Tony Castricone Podcast.
Thank you for being at the crib.
All right,
appreciate you.